Looking back on the iPhone SE makes me appreciate its design and the small form factor that is all but obsolete in the smartphone industry these days. You simply do not see smartphones with a 4-inch display. It just doesn't really exist, especially from large manufacturers like Apple. I think there still is a market for small displays like this. Personally, I've always gravitated towards bigger smartphones, but I've recently actually started to appreciate smaller displays that I can more easily manage with one hand. If you take this same general form factor that we have here and shrink down the bezels, you remove the home button, and you throw in a notch for the front-facing camera, you could fit maybe a 4.8-inch display here, and it would sell well. It would still be usable with one hand. The iPhone X is really the only modern day option that Apple provides for users who like small displays, and even then it packs a 5.8-inch display. Now, I've always had a sweet spot for this build. I really like the flat sides as they provide a ton of space for your hands. You can easily pick this phone up off a desk and hold on to it. It doesn't quite fit as comfortably in the hand, but I can sacrifice some comfort if it means I'm able to hold onto the phone better and not drop it. The metal actually feels like metal. It even extends to the back, which is kind of nice. But unfortunately, this design wouldn't be possible in the newer iPhones without sacrificing wireless charging. We'll see the headphone jack is still here. We won't ever see that again in an Apple device. The power button is up top, which should be moved to the side. The mute toggle and separate volume controls work well. Overall, the phone is built well, and I think it still looks pretty good, with the exception of those bezels. A nice perk with iPhones is that they tend to last a long time. The 3-year-old iPhone SE runs the latest version of iOS 12.1.3, and it's still pretty fast and it's extremely fluid. Granted, I did factory reset mine as it's been in storage for a while, but it still manages to hold its own even with an Apple A9 dual-core chip with 2 GB of RAM. I love Android. I'm using an Android phone as my daily driver right now, but you would never consider using a dual-core Android phone with 2 GB of RAM in 2019. The camera is the same sensor as the iPhone 6s, which was great for the time, but mobile cameras have come a long way since 2016 in hardware, but especially in software. So you're missing out on some features like portrait mode, portrait lighting effects, and the impressive computational photography features in the newer iPhones that basically take a bunch of different photos with different exposures and merges them together to create one perfect shot. You can get some good results, but low light photos will suffer and it will be missing some bells and whistles. So for a phone of this size, battery life actually isn't terrible. The phone will last for several hours watching Netflix, browsing the web, playing games. You should be able to get around 7 hours of screen on time playing games, streaming movies, managing your social media sites, maybe even longer if you're just sticking to one of those things like just streaming Netflix. With that said, if you bought this phone back in 2016, the battery life is certainly not going to be that good. You're probably going to have a tough time getting through a full day of usage. You might even want to contact Apple and see if they can do something about replacing the battery. Overall, the thing that ages this phone is the lack of polish and bells and whistles. It has the core components that make for a great phone, but it does lack some camera software features, thin bezels, stereo speakers, and a faster processor. But it keeps some features that the newer iPhones dropped, like Touch ID and a 3.5mm headphone jack. And we might even see the newer iPhones bring back the boxy metal build that this phone has. Unfortunately, Apple no longer sells the iPhone SE. They did actually recently clear their stock and drop the price down to $250 for the 32GB model. Maybe some of you were able to scoop up that deal. So let me know what your thoughts are of the iPhone SE in a comment down below. How does it stack up in 2019? Would you like to see more phones with this form factor? Let me know what you're thinking. As always, I'm BoHD from PhoneDog.com. Thanks for watching, and I will see you right back here in the next one. See ya.